But this is a real one right here for sure. It's the name of the podcast he hosts, The Real Ones. Our man Logan Murdock. Logan, what's good, baby?
We
What's up? How y'all doing, man?
we good, Logan. We're trying to figure something out. Is Sacramento's own Logan Murdock? Is that what it is?
No, not at all. No,
Oh,
I
okay.
spent some time over here, but I'm not gonna claim that.
Okay.
There's too many real ones out here for me to claim that, man. I can't do that. I can't set trip. That's what they call it up here, set tripping. I can't do that.
That's what we just checking because I talked. I was bragging a little bit, going through the high school hoops and everything. I said Sacramento kind of put a whooping on the Bay Area this year in high school hoops, man. I'm just saying we out here hooping.
Man, I haven't been catching up on high school in a minute, but when I was in high school, that was not happening.
Well, it's happening now.
Because all the Bay people moved up here. That's why. Everybody got priced out and moved up here.
Right,
so
right.
Kind of like we all eat.
That's actually frustratingly accurate. That's frustratingly accurate. What Logan just said right there. A couple of people now I might have missed this. It could have been an episode of The Real Ones I missed or a tweet that I missed. Did you jump out the window with the Tyrese Halliburton Domantas Sabonis trade?
I'm not gonna lie, I did. I jumped out a little bit. Yeah, I did.
All right.
I'm not gonna lie. I think it was more of a frustration. No, honestly, to be real, it was honestly a frustration of just watching, maybe just the history of the Kings the last 15, 16 years. Man, the fans deserve better, and I think that was the emotion that I was conveying at the moment.
Understandable, but so here's the thing that we always talk about on this show when talking about that trade. We like Tyrese Halliburton. We think he's going to be a really good ball player in this league. Some people saying all NBA, all this stuff. That's where he started jumping out the window. Silk Sonic smoking out the window. All right, they got a lot of that going on. But our frustration stems from people just kind of dismiss the fact that they got Domantas Sabonis, who is a two-time All-Star, who is a walking 18 and 13 for his career, and 25 years old. They just kind of forget about that fact.
I think that the Kings are in a situation right now. They do got new, relatively new front office, with the new GM, and they have all these things, but they got a lot to prove, man. They have a lot to prove. So even me jumping out the window, a lot of people out of the ringer jumping out the window, a lot of people just in general jumping out of the window. I think it's a sense of the fact that people have this front office has a lot to prove. And I think I was talking to somebody within the Kings organization, just like, there's really a no-win situation. Any trade we make is going to be at face value a bad trade,
right,
just because of the reputation of all the years. So it's kind of one of those things where they're just going to have to prove it and prove everybody wrong because of everything that's happened over the last 15, 16 years of them not winning, going to the postseason and winning at a high level. So, I mean, that noise ain't going to stop just because the dude's a two-time All-Star. He's really good, man. I've seen him in person a few times. Dude is really good, but got to prove it on the floor with wins.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Understandable too.
And that's something that De'Aaron hasn't done either. What's your opinion on De'Aaron? Because I feel like those are all over the place too these last few months.
I think everybody that I've talked to around De'Aaron, I think that the biggest thing that he needs is structure and continued structure, and honestly, a group of people that believe in him, man. But the biggest thing is structure for him. He has had 3 coaches over his career, has had a whole bunch of trades, a whole bunch of different teammates, and there has not been a sustained growth. There hasn't been a sustained growth of the roster around him. Anytime I think that with the Kings, they're all about we want to get these quick trades and quick fixes where you see another team like what the Warriors have done, for instance, right? That have kind of built a sustained roster. Every time something goes awry, there's a big trade that happens. There's a restarting of things. There's a coach getting fired, like Luke Walton. There just isn't much continuity. And I think that if you look at De'Aaron's past, he's always had, a sustained situation. You talk about in Kentucky, you had a guy like Coach Cal who is going to be there and he's going to win. In high school, he had his pops. He had people around him that were going to be there. The Kings are the first situation where he has not had that, where he's kind of been on his own trying to figure it out, and it's tough to do that in the league with all those expectations. But this is where, it comes for both De'Aaron and the front office to say, hey, man, we got this new start. Now it's time to put some wins on the board. And, we'll see what happens. But he needs, sustainability in a place that's anything but like that. He needs structure in a place that's anything but structured.
Yeah. What do you think about De'Aaron just as a ball player? Like, do you think that he's as good as these numbers that he's been putting up, since the first of the year? He's like 25 a night, 6 rebounds. Or do you think it's a situation where he's putting up big numbers on a bad team? Do you think he is like a 25 a night type player?
Oh yeah, I think he's nice. I think in comparison that at least he likes to make is Devin Booker, and you see the guy like Book who was criticized for having empty stats all throughout the years, but again got a team built around him to his strengths, and now he's a guy that can be a perennial all-star and one of the best 10 players in the league. And I think that De'Aaron Fox is looking at it as a guiding force and something that he can look towards, but. Dude got talent. There's no you can't make no bones about that. He scored 44 the other night. And he shows that, but it has to be consistent. It has to be consistent from his side, and also has to be consistent from the Kings.
Yeah.
Logan Murdock, the Real Ones podcast, with us here on D-Lo and KC. You think the Golden State Warriors can make a run to the finals?
Oh yeah, for sure. But they gotta figure a lot of things out before that happens. Man, they got to figure out if they can even beat the Memphis Grizzlies. Man, Memphis Grizzlies is the best team in the league right now. They got to figure that out. But I think the biggest thing is they got to get Draymond Green back, and he's supposed to come back, I think, on the 14th. And if he's healthy, because it was a weird injury. I was actually at the game when he got injured, and it was the calf injury, then it was some back issues, and that back is tricky. So he has to figure that out. I think if he figures that out, and Wiseman just figures something out, if he can maybe give them some front court help, they'll be fine. But the key is Draymond, and it's always been Draymond for that team. He's the heart and soul of that team. So if he's right, I think the Warriors got a shot.
We were talking about the Warriors a little bit earlier, and I don't think they have enough to win the championship. I don't think they're better than Phoenix. They're probably better than Utah now. At the beginning of the season, I didn't think they were. Memphis is a scary one, and then they've got a tough matchup possibly with Denver, who I don't think is better, but I think that's a tough matchup for the Warriors. Either way it goes, I look at what goes on with that Warriors team and their organization. And I came out, you want to talk about jumping out the window. I came out with the thought today where I was like, they may need to make a decision on Klay this summer. And I don't think they would ever move on from Klay, because that just Joe Lacob doesn't seem like he'll never move on from Klay, Draymond, or Steph. But I don't know. It's Klay making a lot of money. And Jordan Poole, when he gets the opportunity, looks really nice. He looks really nice. And then you got a guy like Moses Moody.
I think you're wilding right now, bro.
All I'm saying is Jordan Poole looks really nice when he gets the opportunity. We've seen in the last couple of nights, Moses Moody gets the opportunity. He's looking really nice. And that check is going to be large that he's going to have to write to the rest of the league. I'm not saying he would do it, but I think a discussion should be had out there.
They're not gonna trade Klay Thompson or get up off of Klay Thompson, man. Klay Thompson is too vital to what they do, and more importantly, Steph wants him there. Draymond wants him there. That's not even a thought. And honestly, Klay Thompson being back in the starting lineup actually helps Jordan Poole, because I believe that Jordan Poole is great in the current position that he's in as a 6-man role. He doesn't have to. All he has to do is bring energy, and all he has to do is get points in a bunch. And he doesn't have as much pressure as being the starting guard. Excuse me. And he's a young kid, man. I wouldn't replace a Klay Thompson with Jordan Poole at this stage of Poole's career. That's just not happening. Okay.
Well,
I tried to tell him,
but look,
he wasn't.
Y'all ain't hear me. See, it's going over your head. Y'all ain't listening to me. It's not like you're cutting Klay Thompson. It's going over your head. You're not cutting Klay Thompson and just you using that in a Bradley Beal type deal, or I threw out like a King scenario. That wouldn't happen. But you're getting something in return for sure, and something major, another all-star. But I don't know. I think them young boys might be ready. They showed me early in the season they might be ready to step into those shoes a little bit.
That's not happening.
No, I agree with you. It's not going to happen. Laker, like I said, Laker over his dead body will trade Steph, Dre, or Clay. That ain't happening. I get you on that.
In Logan, in all seriousness, though, you do have those young guys there in Golden State. Is it more likely like the ship's going to go down before anything happens with? And I don't think Steph's really in the conversation, but anything that happens with Clay, Draymond, like, no, well, if we got to suck, we got to suck. But we're not trading those guys. We're not getting rid of those guys. They're going to leave on their own terms.
Man, I feel like y'all talking about the Warriors like they ninth in the West.
No, not at all.
Wow,
not
I
at,
was like, where's the dog?
Not at all.
See what they're built
now.
They're built. But here's the thing: they're built in a unique way where I'm of the opinion they can win this year. That's my opinion. I think they're good enough to win the NBA championship this year. But they also, because of the way that things went over the course of a couple of years, they have the ability to be really good for a really long time. When Draymond starts to fade out, if there's a point where Clay starts to fade out, you have guys who could step right in that role. And maybe they're not quite championship ready right out the gate, but this team isn't falling out of the play-in anytime soon. Like, this is a really good team potentially for a really, really long time. But I think how they handle contracts, these young players, and how they handle guys like Draymond, who, he's dealing with so many injuries, how you're handling Klay Thompson moving forward, I think that plays a big part in it.
For sure. I think that they're on the right path. I think that they are doing what they said that they were going to do, that people, including myself, have some skepticism that they would do, which is develop young guys at a rapid pace while keeping their core together and winning titles. It's really hard to do that in a league and find that balance. Now, they've been able to do that with guys like Jordan Poole, guys like Kuminga, who has been really, really good this season, and honestly has so much potential going over the next few years. And, there's some people in that organization, there's some people running the league that think he could be the next star out of Golden State. But they do have to be patient with these people, with these guys, because you got to understand, Jordan Poole hasn't been deep in the playoffs and been in a deep playoff run yet. Kuminga has not been hasn't been in the playoffs yet. Right. It's a different game when you get to that level. And right now, they need a Draymond Green on their roster at that level. They need a Klay Thompson on that roster at that level. When you talk about guys that have been there before, it's a big step. And I don't think you go full young guys just yet, either this year or next year.
I got you. I smell what you're cooking.
Go ahead. You got one?
No. I was just gonna ask Logan one last thing about the Russell Westbrook situation. You feel with Russ is, he got upset with people calling him Westbrook and all this other stuff and his family name. You feel him there, or is he being a little too sensitive in that situation?
I feel him on the sense that, it's really tough to play in a place like Los Angeles, especially when there's high expectations and things like that. And I think you're seeing the other side of that, where his family is getting death threats. That's a serious thing. I think what we're seeing is, it's not the storybook ending that he wanted to have in Los Angeles. He thought it was going to be different, and it's tough, man. I think that Russell Westbrook has always been a case study in how fans treat NBA players as a whole. Just in general. Now, this situation might be different, but for the most part, when you talk about fans going at players in the stands and just being outright disrespectful, they do that to Russell Westbrook. So he does have an overall point. I can't really speak to this specific instance if he's being sensitive or not, because I don't know that man, and I'm not in those doors. But what I will say is that the truth is he has been going through these things with fans time and time again. When you talk about the incident in Utah, you talk about just him. There's been, you can go on YouTube right now and see plenty of instances where fans have gotten that Russ out of pocket and gotten his family out of pocket. So I think that he does have an overall point that, man, we really need to rethink how we talk to NBA basketball players or players in general, because they are people too. And if they go up in the stands and do something to them, then they're wrong after, somebody's been riding him all game and all season long. It's a tough task. It's a tough task. It's a tough thing to be an NBA player. But and I think he's showing like the other side of that and what can be hard as an NBA player.
Yeah.
Logan, we appreciate you as always, my brother. Thanks for hanging out with us.
For sure. Thanks for having me.